most infuriating thing about economics is a few people control the conversation. Jeremy Siegel is actually a pretty good economist until he gets to the point in talking about interest rates in a Volcker level way. In order to be an economist, you really do need to think that you're better than everyone else. So that is me, and if you appreciate what my creativeness can do, then that's what it is. But quite frankly, we need people that can think fast and actually go to the end of the line of a logic train, and that takes rubber sponginess of your brain in order to understand where the price increases are happening throughout an economy. You actually need to be able to think fast, like a mathematician. That's why mathematicians do not get any awards after 40. They're like boxers. You have to think fast, right? There's nothing that you can do in economics that isn't on the market at the time. So if Jeremy Siegel's talking about raising rates right now, he's corrupting the data. That's the whole problem. You got to understand. We bought this inflation. Everyone knows he was the first person to tell you we're going to have inflation. I said the same thing. I was taking his notes. I was like, guys, Jeremy Siegel's saying this. We're going to have inflation, but stay in tech. That's going to get us through 2020. Then energy trade ran in 2021. He was right about that too. But now he's calling for a Volcker level raise. This is what is taken out of the textbooks. All of these guys, Jeremy Siegel was a baby compared to Stigler. He has had baby ideas compared to what everyone had to say after World War II. So all of these economists come in, like Volcker, everyone else, and they're pretending like in the 70s they saved the oil market. Guys, we tried to commit suicide throughout the 70s, whether we were the US or England. Collectivists, we shipped out everything. The oil situation, if you don't realize that we destroyed our economy for the same type of oil environment that's happening now, cutting pipelines, just making things more expensive for no reason. Same thing, bro. And literally Volcker raised rates in 1976 and 1979. The stock market was awful. Awful. It was terrible. When he lowered rates in 1981 and then rode those out until 1986, sure, he culled the herd and had a great bull market. You can do that anytime you want. But when we have 30 trillion debt now, it's not like we have the 50s and 60s of like a decent amount of deleveraging before the 70s. We have so much debt that if we make it cost more at the margin, first of all the money is going to come back in. Then we're going to be super indebted. So what we're going to do, we're going to ship out all of the deals, all of the money for cheap labor elsewhere. This is where Jeremy Siegel goes wrong. And you need an economist who actually is passionate enough to tell you that this is a big deal. We must focus on this issue because Jeremy Siegel is actually on the ball. Everyone else that goes up there is talking about something fucking random for this quarter because their bankers is telling them to. This guy's actually trying to be right for the long run. He's a financial historian. And he's long enough that he has the knowledge. But here's what I'm saying, guys. The old people that we're all looking up to, they're babies to the people that actually built this country. The Fed funds rate that was created during World War II should have been taken away. But in 1951, we stuck with it. He was a baby when this happened. We have to go back to the root of the issue. Remember, central banking, 1913. This is what the whole battle has been about. We need a Jacksonian democracy where we spread out the watering holes. I can talk about this on a very passionate level. If we have centralized exchanges, there's going to be more corruption. We can have centralized exchanges, but they must be in check in a meta market. We cannot have all these derivatives and carry trades that these bankers are getting paid on and controlling our politicians. And then we have Jeremy Siegel run out there and say we need to raise rates. But you're avoiding the root of the issue. What does the pricing come from? How did we get away with this much money supply growth without this much inflation? How do we get away with all of the debt increase without this inflation? The answer is, just like World War II, like he's saying, you hide leverage in the system. But what he's not saying is that by raising rates, you're just going to kill out companies now, especially the growth companies that are trying to build new business models. And then all the legacy companies are going to have no competition. They're already over-levered because we've already done this QE. The answer is, at the lows, we shouldn't have printed money. At 2008, we shouldn't have printed money. We shouldn't have bailed out the banks, and the pensions should take the losses for giving their money through hands-of-hand signatures, funds of funds. That is not the right correct allocation of capital. Even a guy like Jeremy Siegel, at max, he's going to help you go to tech or energy. These guys do not allocate capital. A true economist should want to see people looking through investments one for one and saying, this is a good investment, this is not a good investment. What happens when BlackRock, Vanguard, all of these companies dominate all the market and they just buy every single bond that's 6 months into maturity? You destroy the price-setting environment. It's Michael Milkenism, something that we should have honestly gotten right. But instead, we had Trump Michael Milken wrote his own book about how he opened up the high yield market. Well, guess what? What an interest rate fallacy that is, because I don't see any access to capital for companies that are high yield now because it's all trading below par. Milton Friedman interest rate fallacy. So let's go, baby. We really have to fight these issues. If you don't understand that it's going to take somebody who can actually put it all together inside of a 12-round fight, that's what this is going to take. Let's go, baby.